Rolling Hills kids, we are so happy that you are joining us online today. Each week, we focus on one basic truth that we believe God wants us to know. Today's basic truth is God has a plan for me. We know that when God made us, He wrote an amazing story for each of our lives. Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future." God wants us to trust in Him and the future He gives us. Let's dive into today's story from the Bible to hear more.
Welcome to Story Lab! This week, we're taking a look at the story of someone who took on an epic building project. And it wasn't all smooth skiing.
Hey, I'm Carter.
And I'm Skylar.
We're talking about the way God created us to work with others.
And the things we can do better together.
Like help your friends dress appropriately. It's 67 degrees outside.
Right?
You know, a t-shirt, jeans, maybe even shorts.
I'm dressed aspirationally.
An aspiration is a strong desire to achieve something great.
It's March, and we have not gotten a single snow flurry this year. I'm aspiring to a snowstorm.
I don't think it works that way.
Thinking snowy thoughts, thinking snowy thoughts, thinking snowy thoughts. Did it work?
I don't need to look outside to say no.
Worst winter ever.
We can't make snow for us, but maybe we could create a snowy world for mini us.
Guess Mini-Me is gonna need a snowsuit.
Let's make it! You ever build a diorama?
A diode is a part of an electrical circuit, so...
Diorama.
Oh, a shoebox diorama.
Yeah, it's like we can design a tiny movie set for our Lego selves.
With all the snowy awesomeness we want.
In a diorama, you want to create layers and depth to make it look more realistic. A diorama can be a great way to show something you've learned about nature or from history.
Or just a really cool idea from your imagination.
Now, you start out by gathering your supplies.
You can use materials, stuff from a recycling bin, things from nature, anything really.
Yeah, we've got paint, we've got construction paper.
Ooh, scissors.
Scissors, we got hot glue, we've got tape,
Some rock things.
cotton balls, styrofoam, and a shoebox.
Which leads us to step 1. Paint the inside of a shoebox. You can make it night or day or even a dramatic sunset.
All right, first, Skylar, let's get some tissue paper on here. That sound good? Step 2, create your background. Now, we already tore up some construction paper and cardboard to make some mountains in separate layers.
Make sure you have a grown-up to help when you're using a hot glue gun. Now we've got some mountains and shapes here.
And now, add some sticks. This is the part where you get to arrange everything just how you want, and then glue it down.
And then maybe we could put some hot glue down there and then we can add some rocks and stuff.
You know, our scene is really taking shape.
Yeah, but it's still missing the most important part.
Snow! Step 3, we're going to use a combination of white tissue paper, cotton balls, and crumpled up styrofoam to add the final touches.
This is all about using your imagination and creating the look that you want.
All right, are we ready?
Time to hit the slopes. The mountains are calling and I must go.
I'm just gonna hang over here and have some s'mores.
I couldn't have built all this without you.
Thanks. Hey, speaking of building,
It's time for...
The story before the story.
Today, we're in the book of Nehemiah. In the beginning, God created a beautiful, perfect world, including us.
But when people turned away, God had a plan to restore us to relationship. God chose one man, Abraham, and promised to bless the whole world through his family.
Sometimes that family, the Israelites, listened to God.
But over and over, they broke their promises.
At last, the people were captured and taken to a foreign land.
But after 70 years, a new king allowed some of the people to return to their home Judah and the capital city of Jerusalem.
There, the people rebuilt God's temple,
But the city wall was still broken down, leaving the people open to enemy attack.
which is where our story starts.
Take it away.
Hey everyone, I'm Brian. While some of God's people had returned to Jerusalem, an Israelite named Nehemiah still lived in Persia and served as King Artaxerxes' drink taster. When Nehemiah heard from his brother that the wall of Jerusalem was broken down, he was so upset that he wept. For days Nehemiah ate nothing and cried out to God.
Lord, you are the God of heaven. You said, if you return to me, I will bring you back. Listen to the prayers of us all. Give me success today when I bring my request to King Artaxerxes.
After talking with God, Nehemiah made a bold move. He went directly to the king.
Why are you looking so sad?
The city of my people has been destroyed. Fire has burned up its gates.
What do you want?
If it pleases you, send me to Judah. Let me go to the city of Jerusalem. I want to rebuild it.
That request took some guts, but the king agreed to Nehemiah's request and even offered to send soldiers along for protection and supplies for rebuilding. The journey was nearly 1,000 miles and likely took months of travel. But at last, Nehemiah and the men with him arrived in Jerusalem. After surveying the full damage to the walls, Nehemiah gathered together the priests and officials and all the people.
You can see the trouble we're in. Let's rebuild the wall. Our gracious God has been helping me. The king has provided what we need.
Let's start rebuilding!
Huzzah! Yeah!
The people were excited and ready to get to work. But some officials from neighboring areas, including Sanballat and Tobiah, were not happy to hear the news.
What do you think you're doing?
Are you turning against the king?
The God of heaven will give us success.
The job facing Nehemiah and the Israelites was huge. The wall needed to be high and thick, and there were many gates to be repaired. And to top it off, few of the people, if any, were builders.
You priests start here at the sheep gate, and men of Jericho, you take the next section.
Each group or family was responsible for one section of the walls or gates, and quickly, that wall began to take shape.
Can they make their wall like new? The stones are piled like trash.
Yeah, suppose a fox climbs on their wall. That will break it down.
Nehemiah heard the mockery and cried out to God.
Oh God, please listen to our prayer. Some people hate us.
Soon, amazingly, the wall had reached nearly half its height. This enraged Sanballat, Tobiah, and other neighboring groups. They made plans to attack Jerusalem before the wall could be finished. Nehemiah heard about it.
Don't be afraid of your enemies. Remember the Lord. He is great and powerful. I want half of you to work and half of you to stand guard.
But we're so spread out. What if there's an attack?
When you hear the sound of the trumpet, join us there. Our God will fight for us.
Encouraged, the people returned to work, tools in hand, weapons at their sides. They lifted heavy stones and beams from the first light of sunrise until the stars came out at night. Sanballat and Tobiah tried even more tricks, but Nehemiah refused to be distracted. And somehow, impossibly, Nehemiah and the Israelites finished the entire wall in 52 days. They later celebrated together after reading aloud God's law.
This day is set apart to honor the Lord your God. Go and enjoy good food. The joy of the Lord makes you strong.
Nehemiah and God's people faced an incredibly difficult problem. The walls of Jerusalem had been broken down for nearly 100 years, and they had no experienced builders. But when they chose to work together and trust in God's help, they were able to complete a job that seemed impossible. The end.
Gotta confess, I get stressed out just putting together a bookcase.
But Nehemiah and the Israelites built a ginormous wall around a whole city.
In less than 2 months.
Totally by hand.
It's an amazing thing to consider what they accomplished together.
So, what's our part in the story?
Well, we were never meant to go it alone. God designed us to work together, to cooperate.
Cooperation is working together to do more than you can do alone.
One of the best times to cooperate is when there's a problem to solve. And it doesn't need to be a giant wall-sized problem either.
Maybe you want a place to play ball, but your backyard is full of weeds and brush.
You could work with your family or maybe even some friends to clear it out.
Or if you wish, the cafeteria had some better food choices for lunch.
You could invite your classmates and your teachers to write a note to the principal explaining why you'd all like to see a change.
Yeah, cooperating with others is not always easy, but it's important. Even Jesus, God's Son, chose to work together with everyday people.
Yeah, so if cooperating feels hard, ask God to give you courage and strength to cooperate.
Rather than trying to go it alone.
I think you got it. See you next time.
So, here's the thing. Work together to solve problems.
Who knows? You just might build something amazing. Only missing one thing.
What's that?
Snowball fight!
Thanks for joining us in the Story Lab. See
you next
See you next time. Oh.
Where did these come from? What? I think our camera crew doesn't like us.